Most HVAC contractors slap in a spot dehumidifier, maybe in the basement, and call it a day. And then they wonder why the homeowner is calling them back 6 months later with the same problem. Here's the truth. Humidity problems in a home are almost never just a humidity problem. They're a symptom. And if you're only treating the symptom, you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving the homeowner frustrated, and honestly, you're leaving your reputation exposed. I've been in countless homes across New England, and I've seen contractors make this exact mistake over and over again. So today, we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna walk you through what's exactly driving high humidity in residential homes, why a standalone dehumidifier is almost always the wrong first move, and what a real moisture management solution actually looks like. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a complete framework you can take onto your next service call. All right, let's start with some context because I think a lot of contractors underestimate how serious this problem is for homeowners. The EPA says that indoor humidity should stay between 30 and 50%. When you push past 60% relative humidity, you're in a danger zone. You're growing mold. You're feeding dust mites, you're destroying wood floors, framing, drywall, and you're making the air feel like a wet blanket. Here's a stat that should stop you cold. The CDC estimates that 50% of homes in the United States have conditions that are conducive to mold growth. That's half. See, that's not a fringe problem. That's the house you drove past this morning on the way to your first job. And what do most contractors do when a homeowner calls about sticky, muggy air inside their house? They quote a portable dehumidifier. Or they recommend whole home dehumidification tacked onto the system. And then they move on. Here's what you need to understand before you touch anything. Humidity inside a home comes from multiple sources. And if you don't identify the source, you're just gonna play whack-a-mole. Let me break down the 4 big moisture sources I see in residential homes. Number 1 is infiltration. This is the outside air sneaking into the building through gaps in the envelope, around windows, through rim joists, like recessed lights in the ceiling, through all those little holes that add up to basically leaving a window cracked open like 24 hours a day. In a leaky house in Massachusetts in July, you're pumping in hot, humid outdoor air constantly. No dehumidifier in the world can keep up with that long term. Number 2 is internal gains. You see, people breathe. People cook, they shower, they dry clothes. A family of 4 generates somewhere between 3 and 6 gallons of water vapor inside your home every single day just from normal living. That's before you factor in houseplants and fish tanks and that one homeowner I had years ago with like 12 cats. I'm not exaggerating. Bad day. Number 3 is ground moisture. If that house has a crawl space or a basement with no vapor barrier, or a cheap vapor barrier that's been sitting in water and doing nothing, moisture's coming up from the ground constantly. Warm, humid air rises, moisture moves towards dry, conditioned space, and it's gonna find its way in. Number 4 is system performance. And this one is where contractors have to look in the mirror a little bit. The HVAC system's oversized, and let's be honest, in New England, there's a majority of existing systems are oversized because they were slapped in with a rule of thumb and a prayer. It's probably short cycling. It's not running long enough to do the latent dehumidification that a properly sized system would do naturally. You're getting temperature control, but zero humidity control. The house might be at 73 degrees and 65% relative humidity, and the homeowner has no idea why they feel so gross. That's the real picture. See, there's 4 sources, and all of them potentially contributing to the same thing. And most contractors are addressing exactly 0 of them when they throw in a portable dehumidifier. So now let me walk you through what a real moisture management approach looks like. And I want to be clear, it's not a sales pitch. This is a diagnostic and solution framework you should be running through on every high humidity call. Step 1 is do a building envelope assessment. Before you even look at the HVAC system, you need to understand how tight the house is. Are there obvious air leaks? Can you feel air moving around electrical outlets on exterior walls? What's the condition of the crawl space or basement? Is there a vapor barrier at all down there? What is it? What's its condition? You don't have to be a building scientist to do a basic visual assessment. If you want to go deeper, a blower door test will tell you exactly how leaky a house is. And some contractors partner with energy auditors to do this. Some do it in-house on their own. Either way, you need this data before you prescribe a solution. See, a leaky house needs air sealing, period. Insulation and air sealing work in a crawl space can cut humidity issues dramatically. I've seen homes where we air sealed and encapsulated a crawl space and the whole home humidity dropped like 8 to 10 points without touching the HVAC system at all. See, it's not magic, it's building science. All right, step 2 is to assess the mechanical ventilation strategy, if there is one. This is where a lot of contractors completely check out because it feels complicated. But stay with me. Here's the paradox of modern homes. As we tighten up building envelopes to be more energy efficient, we reduce natural air infiltration, which is great for energy use. But now the house has no fresh air coming in. So moisture and CO2 and VOCs and all kinds of indoor air quality problems build up because there's nowhere for them to go. The answer is controlled mechanical ventilation, an ERV or an energy recovery ventilator, or an HRV, a heat recovery ventilator, brings in fresh outdoor air in a controlled way while exhausting stale indoor air. And the good ones do it while recovering most of the energy, so you're not just throwing conditioned air out the window. For humid climates, an ERV is usually the right call because it also transfers some moisture. It tempers the incoming air so you're not blasting hot, humid outside air directly into the duct system. ASHRAE 622 is the residential ventilation standard, and it gives you a formula for how much air a home needs based on square footage and occupancy. If you're not familiar with that standard, you should look it up. Get familiar with it because homeowners are starting to ask about indoor air quality more than ever before. And if you don't have an answer, I bet your competitor will. All right, step 3 is to evaluate the HVAC system's latent capacity. This is where the manual J comes back into it. And I know some of you just rolled your eyes. Stick with me. A manual J load calculation gives you 2 numbers, sensible load and latent load. Sensible is the heat you can feel. Latent is the moisture load. Most residential equipment is selected based on a total. It's the sum of the two. But if your system doesn't have enough latent capacity, you're going to have humidity problems even if the system's running perfectly otherwise. Some climates and some homes have a high latent to sensible ratio, like coastal homes or heavily shaded homes that don't get a lot of solar gain. Homes with very tight envelopes where there's not much sensible load but there's still people and moisture inside. In these situations, you may actually need a system that can run longer at lower capacity to wring out more moisture. That's where variable capacity equipment, the multi-stage and variable speed compressors, earns its keep. Not just for efficiency, but for humidity control. If you're still selling single-stage systems in 2026, and you're not considering, or at least having the conversation about latent performance, you're not doing your customer a service. All right, step 4. Let's talk about supplemental dehumidification. After you've addressed the envelope, you've addressed the ventilation strategy, and you've addressed the system sizing and performance, now a whole home dehumidifier might make sense as part of the complete solution. It's the final layer. Something like the Aprilaire 1850 or the Santa Fe Advance or the Honeywell Whole Home units, right? These are exactly the products, and they're excellent. But they're just a piece of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle. A properly sized whole home dehumidifier integrated into a duct system with its own control and its own humidistat can maintain that 50% or below target even during shoulder seasons when the air conditioning isn't even running. In New England, May and September can be brutal for humidity. The AC doesn't kick on because it's 65 degrees out, but it might be 70% relative humidity inside. And a standalone whole home dehumidifier solves that problem. Sizing matters here too, don't guess. These units are rated in pints per day at specific temperature and humidity conditions. A 70-pint unit at rated conditions may only pull like 40 pints a day at your actual operating conditions. So you need to know your numbers, read the spec sheets. Now, let me give you the bigger picture on why this matters for your business. The average homeowner who calls with a humidity complaint is already frustrated. They've probably dealt with this for a season or two already. They've bought a portable dehumidifier from Home Depot. It's been running 24 hours a day, the bucket fills up every 2 days, and they're still not comfortable. When you show up and do what I just walked you through, when you actually assess the envelope, talk about ventilation, evaluate system performance, and then build a layered solution, you're an entirely different category of contractor than the last 3 guys who came out and quoted a bigger box. That's a $5,000 to $15,000 solution depending on what your house needs. It's not a service call, it's a project. And the homeowner who's been suffering with humidity for 2 years is absolutely willing to pay for a real solution when somebody finally explains the real problem to them. This is exactly what I teach in ACA residential system design training. The goal is to understand the building as a system, not just the equipment. The equipment is the last piece. The house is the first piece. So let me give you a quick summary before you head out on your next call. High humidity in a residential home comes from 4 places: infiltration through the building envelope, internal moisture generation, ground moisture from crawl spaces and basements, and HVAC system performance issues, particularly from oversized equipment that short cycles. A real solution addresses all 4 layers. You start with the building envelope and air sealing. You evaluate the ventilation strategy and whether an ERV or an HRV belongs in the picture. You look at the system's latent capacity and whether the equipment can actually do the humidity work that needs to be done. And then, and only then, You talk about active dehumidification as the final layer. If you do this right, you're not a commodity anymore. You're the contractor who actually solves the problems. To get a complete framework for implementing this into your business and evaluating every weak leak in your current process, watch the 15-point HVAC system design audit that shows you exactly where money's fallen through the cracks. Thanks for joining me this week at HVAC Pro Blog. We provide advice for residential HVAC system design, quality installation, and system diagnosis. I'll see you soon.